Dates and events in history are the primary tools in manufacturing narratives. How do we mark the significance of one day over the other? Of course, it is done by the collective experience of the same. One date, 9/11, has been also marked in the same way, but for the horrors, violence, and bloodshed it brought. The 4 different attacks on the same day in the US, most horrifyingly captured in our imagination by the sight of an aeroplane collapsing into the World Trade Center in Manhattan, is still afresh in our memories. The world also has not forgotten the following Afghanistan war, the Iraq war, and the many areas attack around West Asia by the US-led NATO forces, calling it the War on Terror. This war still continues, persists, and complicates itself. However, by abandoning the date of 9/11, we tend to forget that some 108 years ago, before the September 11, 2001 attacks, one monk from the heartland of Bharat had reached America as well. We won over the Americans with the message of love and not hatred. Why must we not then celebrate 9/11 in the name of that sannyasi, Swami Vivekananda? Why must we associate 9/11 with an Islamic jihadist, Osama bin Laden, and the American aggression which brought misery to many innocent people for a whole decade or more? Before answering those questions, we must go back to history to refresh our memories. On September 11, 1893, the first session of the Parliament of Religions was opened in the Great Hall of Columbus, where were seated representatives of the religious beliefs of 1,200 millions of the human race. Among them was also seated Swami Vivekananda. When Vivekananda's turn came up to speak, the history was awaiting its high wave. Hardly had he pronounced the very simple opening words, when hundreds rose to their feet with deafening shouts of applause. The Parliament had gone mad, everyone cheering the Swami enthusiastically. For a few minutes, he attempted to speak, but the wave of wild enthusiasm created by the significant form of address prevented it. When Swami Vivekananda's speech commenced, he quoted 2 beautifully illustrated passages taken from the Hindu scriptures. He said, "As the different streams having their sources in different places all mingle their water into the sea, O Lord, the different paths which men take through different tendencies, various though they may appear, crooked or straight, all led to Thee." The effect of these mighty words was tremendous. The American press rang with his fame. The New York Herald referred to him as undoubtedly the greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions, and added, "After hearing him, we feel how foolish it is to send missionaries to this learned nation." Throughout his journey to various countries, Swamiji was much impressed by the sight of the various remains of the Bharatiya Dharma. But on September 11, 2001, 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 aeroplanes and carried out suicide attacks against targets in the United States. 2 of the planes were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon just outside Washington, D.C. And the 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Almost 3,000 people were killed during the 9/11 terrorist attacks. These attacks triggered major US initiatives to combat terrorism and define the presidency of George W. Bush. The 9/11 also escalated the ongoing clash of civilization theory. American President Bush, in his address soon after the attack, declared,
"Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them." Now, who has harbored those terrorists is the question. Operating Enduring Freedom, the American-led international effort to oust the Taliban regime in Afghanistan and destroy Osama bin Laden's terrorist network based there, began on October 7, 2011.
Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children. It was nearly 10 years ago that a bright September day was darkened by the worst attack on the American people in our history. The images of 9/11 are seared into our national memory. Hijacked planes cutting through a cloudless September sky, the Twin Towers collapsing to the ground, black smoke billowing up from the Pentagon, the wreckage of Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where the actions of heroic citizens saved even more heartbreak and destruction.
Within 2 months, US forces has effectively removed the Taliban from operational power. But the war continued, as US and coalition forces attempt to defeat a Taliban insurgency campaign based in the neighboring Pakistan. The attacks caused the death of around 2,900 people and the injuries of more than 6,000. Numerous incidents of harassment and the hate crimes against Muslims and South Asians were reported in the days following the attack. Sikhs were also targeted because Sikh males usually wear turbans, which are stereotypically associated with Muslims. There were reports of attacks on mosques and other religious buildings, including the firebombing of a Hindu temple, and assaults on people, including one murder. That murder was of Balbir Singh Sondhi, a Sikh mistaken for a Muslim. Sondhi was fatally shot on September 15, 2001 in Arizona. Shortly after the hijacked plane crashed, the Ramakrishna Mission printed a startling poster. For us, said the mission, every 9/11 is a day for celebrating peace and brotherhood. The 9/11 of 1893 is fascinating, pertinent to the contemporary conundrums of the contemporary world. Vivekananda was there as a messenger of peace and brotherhood. When he arrived in Chicago, he found to his dismay that he had lost the address of the committee. He was lost and did not know where to go. However, the conscience inside Swamiji was not lost. It was awake. He passed the chilly night in a big empty box found in the railway freight yard. In the morning, he wandered from door to door only to meet insults and rebuffs from the fashionable residents of the metropolis. He didn't complain. He didn't get angry. And somehow, he reached the parliament and he addressed the audiences as sisters and brothers.
Sisters and brothers of America. It fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial welcome which you have given us.
This is the essence of the Hindu thought. Swami Vivekananda and the 9/11 represented a left-behind legacy which was truly Hindu and Bharatiya, and which accentuated the fact that love triumphs hate. Universal brotherhood will win over the communalism, and harmony as a goal must surpass all the pursuits. The 9/11 of 2001 underlines the fact that Islamic brotherhood can lead us to the havoc, destruction, and partisan. It is not about tolerance, far less about the acceptance of others. Now, it is for the humanity as a whole to decide which 9/11 we want to remember.